Now, what if this experimentation on the Luxem is what created sentient bots? It would make sense, because from what we know, no other culture or city in the Age of Arcanum was able to produce these sentient robots. These bots were actually assassin bots, sleeper bots in disguise. Possibly there was a keyword or some kind of code word that would trigger their programming, almost like Trojan horse-esque programming, putting them into kill mode. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to Fraud on the Tele. In today's video, we're breaking down some of the craziest Critical Role theories from Reddit from this week's episode of Critical Role. Theories such as, who is the mask salesman D? What is their identity? What are their motives? What is the origins of FCG's backstory, his relation to Aeor, as well as pre-calamity events? And what do these new links between Gianna Hexam, the Cerberus Assembly, and the Paragon's Call mean for the rest of the campaign? As always, if you enjoyed the video or learned something new, make sure you cast Healing Word on that like button. As well, don't forget to use your bonus action to inspire the subscribe button and hit that tiny bell. Okay, so on last week's episode of Critical Role, Campaign 3, Episode 32, we got some pretty big information regarding FCG's backstory with Dancer, as well as their backstory as a whole, spinning the community into a wild theory mess. We begin with D, the mysterious masked salesman that sold FCG in the town of Bassaras. Now, if you watched our episode breakdown video, you know that this is most likely the Aeormaton Revolution from Campaign 2 that the Mighty Nine reawoke in their trip to the ruins of Aeor. This is something that it seems like the community has kind of come together to agree upon. It's not known for certain, but it very much seems that way. So for some of these theories, we're just going to assume that this is in fact Devexion the Aeormaton. Now, quick information, we don't know a lot about Devexion the Aeormaton. All we know that they were a Aeormaton from Aeor that was made sometime pre-calamity, and then with the destruction of Aeor, it went offline into kind of a sleeper mode. The Mighty Nine awoke it. It regained some of its memories, but if I remember correctly, there was a certain amount of memory time gap that existed, and Devexion set off into the world to try to reawaken a lot of his Aeormaton brethren. Now, with this in mind, we have to wonder, why did Devexion sell FCG? If they are probably most likely the most forefront expert on Aeormatons alive at this point in Exandria, and if their goal is to wake up these other Aeormatons, why would they possibly sell FCG? Is it possibly money? What use could money be to an Aeormaton? Also, if this is Devexion, they've come a super far way over the last 7 to 8 years since Campaign 2, as Wildmount and Aeor are really far from the city of Bassaras, so this guy has been busy. If not money, then why would Devexion get rid of FCG? Is it possible that maybe he just couldn't fix FCG? This doesn't seem super likely, as Dancer was able to fix FCG, awaken him, as we learned in the episode that FCG wasn't really broken. He was in more of kind of a sleep state, and she just woke him up. This Redditor theorized that possibly Devexion is trying to initiate some kind of Aeormaton or technical revolution in Exandria. He would do this either as a gateway to the creation of more Aeormatons, more sentient automatons, as well as to just further recreate the world in his mind. We remember that Devexion is a creature from pre-calamity in the Age of Arcanum, in an age of science and magic that just completely dwarfs everything that is in modern Exandria now. Most of this technology is long lost, so possibly Devexion is trying to bring some of this age back, trying to refill the world with this strange, ancient, arcane technology that they're used to. They go on to say, it seems more like Devexion or D was planting FCG more than selling him. Now, we know that artificers exist in the world of Exandria. Is this possibly kind of the inspiration for a greater threshold of artification, more innovation in magic, technology, trying to regrow the Age of Arcanum in Exandria in a way? Joe as well mentions that a lot of the designs for his automatons and the creations that he makes are heavily based off of the things that he buys from D, as D seems to have unprecedented knowledge and access to old, ancient Age of Arcanum technology. Is it possible that he was using FCG as a test subject to see if peoples in Exandria possess the ability to work on these Aeormatons? Possibly D is looking for maybe a partner or someone to work with in their grand project of bringing more Aeormatons, making more sentient automatons. Possibly this was what they were looking for. Someone who could fix FCG, would have the abilities that D would need in order to have this arcane technological revolution? Is it possible that maybe these motives are a little more nefarious? As we said before, if this is Devexion, this is a creature and a character that we know very little about. They seem to be rather kind-hearted in their interactions with the Mighty Nine, but we really just don't know. As we said, a lot of their memory has been wiped. Is it possible that, like FCG, they were potentially used in some kind of combat situation in the Calamity, where they designed to be combat, murder-esque bots, as well as along with their other functions? We just really don't know. It's possible as well that this could be something completely in the air at the moment. Hopefully at some point later on the line, the party will get to confront Devexion D, this masked person. If they aren't Devexion, then I just have no idea, and all of this falls flat, but we really don't know. There's so many options, so many things. We know that Aeormatons over the last 8 years have been waking up across Exandria. This is most likely due to the efforts of Devexion. If we've seen, he finds and brings this ancient technology, crash landed around the world in these ancient cities before the Age of Arcanum, and tries to bring it back to life and sell it to the people across Exandria. Now, is this a malicious intent, or is this a good intent? Personally, to me, this seems like the work of someone who wants to revive their people. Remember that Aeormatons are sentient. They are people in the world of Exandria. Now, if you were one of the few remaining parts of your species, of your people left alive, wouldn't you do everything you could to save them? Another hotly debated topic on the Critical Role Reddit is the nature of FCG's new assassin bot, sleeper agent bot status that we potentially learned about in the last episode. Joe reveals to the party that there was once a set of automatons in the Age of Arcanum created by Aeor and sent out to political ambassadors across Exandria. These Aeormatons were said to be sentient and were programmed to handle tasks, basically be like a personal assistant or servant to these political figures. However, all of a sudden, randomly, they all murdered their owners. These bots were actually assassin bots, sleeper bots in disguise. Possibly there was a keyword or some kind of code word that would trigger their programming, almost like Trojan horse-esque programming, putting them into kill mode. A lot of people speculate that this is possible some kind of phrase that sends FCG into a frenzy, but it seems more likely that it's the stress points that Matt has implemented into FCG's character. It very much seems that these stress points are accumulated anytime FCG heals someone or provides therapy in some kind of way, which would make sense because FCG is taking that pain, whether it's emotional or physical, onto themselves. They already have kind of a damaged psyche, damaged brain, so it would make sense that these points would accumulate. The question is, what is the threshold on this point break? One keen-eyed Redditor noticed that in the episode, Matt told Sam to reset his stress points, and the amount of times that he hit the screen was like 15 to 20, indicating that he had like a ton of stress points. I'm very curious to see how the mechanics end up playing out of this feature, this kind of like trigger point feature that Sam and FCG are working with, and I'm very curious to see just how much Sam knows about this hidden backstory. Another theory that I had, and I'm sure some other people had as well, but I have not seen it yet, is that Aeormatons, their sentience was granted by the Luxem, the beacons. We know that Aeor was doing experiments on the Luxem beacon from the Mighty Nine's time in Campaign 2 when they spent in the ruins of Aeor. They found a lot of different experiment rooms and notes indicating that they were experimenting on the Luxem beacon. We know that the Luxem beacon is this ancient entity, kind of like a fracture of a god or like an ancient powerful being, one that's even older than the gods of Exandria. We know that the Kryn Dynasty's people are reborn, their souls go into the Luxem and then they are reborn. Now, what if this experimentation on the Luxem is what created sentient bots? It would make sense, because from what we know, no other culture or city in the Age of Arcanum was able to produce these sentient robots. Now, it would only make sense if some kind of gift from the Luxem, because the Luxem, as we know, contains soul essence in some kind of sense, was transferred into the bot, and possibly then at that point, the robot, the Aeormaton, contains the soul of a person and possibly even their memories. We just don't know. This was a theory that I've been kind of thinking and working on for a while, ever since we made our What is Aeor video explaining the city of Aeor and going through all the experimentation that they did on the Luxem, and I think very much that this is possible. It very much could be nothing, but I think I'm onto something here, as well as we have the Dunamancy Luxem links in Campaign 3. Now, I talked about this as well on our episode breakdown video, but we received some information that kind of links everything in Campaign 3. When the party was moving crates in Paragon's Call, Ashton realized that these crates were the exact same crates that he tried to steal from Gianna Hexam with the Cerberus Assembly logo on top. That means that there are Dunamancy vials inside of these crates. Now, why would the Paragon's Call be moving these vials of Dunamancy? We know that they're working with the Cerberus Assembly. We know that these two are working together with the Unsteely Court in the Feywild for whatever Aeor-type shenanigans that are going to happen on the Apogee Solstice. We know that they're building some kind of strange telescope-esque device to peer inside of the moon of Ruidus and possibly do something else later on, which we just don't know. Possibly crack it, freeing whatever inside. Who knows? We actually just don't know. There's so many options. Now we have the strange link of the Dunamancy crates, which link Gianna Hexam and the goings-on in Marquette to the Cerberus Assembly into the Paragon's Call, making for a very strange web, one that I really wonder what will lead to. What is Gianna Hexam's role in all of the goings-on in the Feywild with Ruidus and in Marquette? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you think that possibly Aeormatons were given their sentience from experimentation with the Luxem? Because I really think that this is a very possible explanation. As we've said before, we know that Aeor was experimenting with the Luxem. We know that they are the only society that produced sentient automatons, to my knowledge at least. So it seems like there's possibly some kind of link here. I want to know your FCG in Campaign 3 theories. Let them know. If I like them, maybe we'll even feature them on our next theory video. As always, guys, if you enjoy the video and learn something new, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I really do appreciate all the support that you guys have been giving me lately. More videos on the way. As always, I hope to see you in the next one. Stay safe out there. Peace, love. I'll do.